Over the last week, I have been playing with gems in Gemini, and I'm so excited to be able to share with you what I've been learning about gems and how they can save you so much time as a teacher. So, I started testing out some gems over the past week, and I've been creating different gems that have really been helping out my workflow. So I guess you might be asking yourself, what are gems? Well, gems are really personalized or customized AI assistants within Gemini. So you can think of creating gems for any kind of workflow where you do a similar kind of repetitive task over and over again. So, what I want to do is let's kind of jump in and take a look at Gemini. Let's look at gems, how to create them, how to share them, and then I'll show you a couple of use cases on how I've been using them this week. So, starting in Gemini, where you're going to find gems is at the side here where it says gems. So, we're going to click on gems, and what you're first going to see is that there are a few pre-made gems by Google. Now, if you've never played with gems before, this is a fun place to start because some of these gems are really good. You can click on the Show More button to see all of the ones that Google has to offer. The Brainstormer is really cool. So if you're looking to come up with different ideas, you could try that one out. Or the Learning Coach is a great one, especially for our students who are learning new concepts and need basically some practice in there. Underneath there is your gems. So this is where you can create gems, and we'll go through that in a minute. You can see I've created a whole bunch of different gems this past week. And then if a gem has been shared with you, and yes, they can be shared exactly like anything in Google, which is awesome, then they will show up on the shared with me at the very bottom of your screen. Okay, but we'll talk more about sharing in a little bit. Let's go through how to create a gem. So we're first going to click on this new gem button here, and that's going to bring us into the window to create our gem. Now, as I'm kind of going through, I'm going to build one to create practice problem sets for my grade 10 science class. So let's just call this grade 10. I hate worksheet, but I'm just going to call it a worksheet generator. Mostly because I want to call it something different than the one I actually use in my drive, because earlier today I was practicing and trying this out, and then I deleted the one that I actually use and had to recreate it again. So I don't want to fall into that again. Now, underneath it is a place for you to put a description. You don't have to fill this in, but it can be really helpful if you are sharing your gem with other people to give it a bit of a description. I'm just going to say that this gem, we're going to generate worksheets that are differentiated for grade 10 science. Okay. Some sort of description so you know what it's all about. Now the instructions, this is where the magic happens, and this is what you're going to put in. You can really just kind of go and brain dump all of your different ideas in there, because there is a way for us to use Gemini to fix it all up once we're done. So that's good. Usually you want to start with putting in the persona that you want the AI to take on in this gem, as well as any specific instructions you have. I have one that I'm just going to paste in here. So looking at it says, act as an expert in the grade 10 Ontario curriculum. Going to provide you a subtopic within the curriculum, and you're going to generate a Google Doc of practice questions with an answer key. I'd like these practice questions to be structured into must do, should do, and aspire to do. So there's my differentiation in there. I would like 5 questions of each type. You'll generate the questions for me to preview first and revise before we create the Google Doc. You can now create Google Docs in Gemini, so it's pretty awesome. And then please prompt me to create the Google Doc when I'm ready. So this is enough information in here to get us going. From here, what we want to do, there's this like magic little pencil with a Gemini star button here. We're going to use Gemini to rewrite these instructions. So we're just going to click on this button and let it do its magic. Okay, so that can take a minute or so. Be patient with it. Sometimes it takes a little while, sometimes it's really quick, but you can see that it's generated all this extra information in here now, which is really great and given our gem a lot more context. So we've got purpose and goals, we got behaviors and rules, we've got overall tone. Really, what you want to do is you want to go through and read all the instructions in here, take out stuff that doesn't make sense, add more stuff in there. If you need to, you can always regenerate and get Gemini to rewrite any updates you've put in there. So that is really good. Like I don't know if I really need that last one in there, but that's okay. I'll leave it there. Now, underneath that is a default tool. So you can select from the different options in Gemini a default tool if it's something you know you're constantly going to create. So if this was something where I was always wanting to generate an image, then I can come in here and click on the create image or the Nano Banana version. If I know I always want to make a game and I want to use Canvas, then maybe I click on Canvas. For this particular one though, I don't want to generate any of those things there, so I'm just going to leave it on no default tool. And then the best part of this, and this is how we really tailor and anchor our gem in our knowledge base, is we can add files for Gemini to reference. So if we click on the plus button here, you can either upload files, you can add them from your drive, or you can add a notebook LM, which is awesome. The one thing to keep in mind though is if you add a notebook LM, you cannot in an education account share the gem then. It won't be shareable. So if for some reason you create a gem and you can't share it later, check and make sure that you haven't put a notebook LM file in here. If there is one in there, that's why it's not shareable. But I'm just going to add from my drive here. And what I'm going to pull for this one is my curriculum documents. And I have a PDF copy of my textbook. So I'm going to add that on there as well. And then it just takes another 30 seconds or so for those files to upload and add in there. You know it's done when you see the little symbol beside it that it's all good to go. Okay, so from here, we're just going to click on Save to save our gem. Great. All right. So now that we've done that, you can test out your gem within this editing window. And what's really nice is doing that here allows you to then go and edit your gem right away instead of having to click back in it later. So maybe I'm just going to prompt this. Doesn't really matter how we start. I'm just going to say hi. Usually that's a great way to start a gem because then all the typical instructions are going to come out for it. All right, so it's asking me for a specific subtopic. So I'm going to choose mitosis here. If you want, you can switch the model of Gemini from fast to maybe thinking. That's usually a bit better for sciencey math kind of stuff. It just tells the AI to take a little bit more time to think and you get a little bit better of a response. So I'm going to hit send. And this can take a couple of minutes. Again, sometimes it takes a little while and then sometimes it goes really quick. I think it depends on the topic. It depends on your sources. It depends on quite a few things about how quickly that's going to come down. Okay, so it's come back with a response. So we've got our tier 1, our must do questions. We've got our should do questions. We got 5 of those. We got 5 aspire to do. It's not showing me the answer key here, so I might go back and instruct it a little bit more to generate the answer key for me. I'm not going to change that here, but I am pretty happy with this. It's saying to provide the prompt to export this directly to a Google Doc. So we could just say create the Google Doc and it will connect to your workspace and it'll create the Google Doc for you, which is really, really awesome in terms of a workflow. Okay, and so you can see that it's generated now, finalize the materials, it's generated my answer key. So that's great. It looks pretty detailed. And then here it's created the Google Doc for us. So if we open that up, look at this. It's all basically, you might just want to make some tweaks to your final formatting, but pretty much away you go. And so once you have this gem set up, it can save you a lot of time in creating those practice worksheets. And you know they're good and they're really solidified within your content and your knowledge base that you've uploaded in there. So that's awesome. Now, in order to share your gems, there's a few places where you can share a gem. So you can share directly from this edit window here. If we click on the share button, it's going to open a general sharing window. You can share with specific people, and you can also share it either with your domain itself or anyone with a link. So if I click on anyone with a link, I can then just copy this link and share it with anybody. You can also see, in there, there's viewer, but you could also change it to editor access. So if you were collaborating with someone on creating a gem, maybe you'd want editor access. Otherwise, I would leave it on viewer. Now, the other places where we can get to our gems, share our gems or whatever is in this main gems panel here. So if you come in here, there is a share button on the side here. So you would click on the share button, again, brings that up in the same place. If you want to get back in and edit the gem, you can click on the pencil icon and that'll get you back into the editing instructions here. And then you can also click on the three dots. There's some neat sort of stuff in here. You can pin them to your sidebar. So you can pin up to 5 gems in the side here. If there's ones you use quite often, I would pin them. And then when you share the gem with someone, they'll show up down here. And if it's a gem that's being shared with you, but you want to make changes and tweaks to it, if you click on the 3-dot menu, you can make a copy of it and then go in and tweak the gem for your specific context. So that's really nice. Now, gems are stored in your Google Drive. So you can click on the locate the gem. What it does is, well, that one's in our shared with me, but in your drive, once you create gems, you're going to get this Gemini Gems folder in there. And any of the gems have the little star icon, Gemini icon beside it. So you can see all of your gems in here. If you wanted to share a gem with someone, you can come in and share from here as well. So it gives you lots and lots of options to be able to share gems with other folks. Now, in terms of use cases, what I've done is I've been kind of thinking about my workflow and thinking about what gems can I make to make my life easier as a teacher. So I've created those practice question generators. I did one for my grade 10 science class, and I also teach IB chemistry. So I've got one specific to the IB question curriculum, and so I've got my IB chemistry doc in here, as well as the textbook that we use for that. I have also created similar versions to create and upload questions that are formatted specifically for Brightspace and quizzes in Brightspace, which is my learning management system. So that saves a ton of time getting questions, multiple choice style, into those quizzes on Brightspace if I want to use that. I also send out a weekly email update to my parents and my students through Google Sheets. And so I like to generate a weekly email. Instead of going and editing ones I have, I can just put in my couple of topics and it generates the text for me that I can then go copy and paste in there. There are so many ideas though. I would say kind of think about your workflow. Think about the repetitive tasks that you do every single day or every single week and create gems for those. So for example, I'm going to create some gems coming up to come up with different variations of questions for my checkpoints and my mastery checks and things like that. So those are still to come, but as you can see, gems can be so useful for your workflow and can help you just save so much time as a teacher. And not only that, we have that power now to share our gems with others. So we're not all recreating the wheel, and we're not having to all start from scratch, which is amazing. Now, if you would like to get a copy of any of these gems that I've created and showed here today, what I'm going to do is put a link down in the description below. You can go click on that and get those resources. I've also created Google Docs to go along with them too, that outline, for example, my practice questions generator. And it's just got square brackets, bolded text on where you go in and personalize it. So if you wanted to go in and take this instead and copy this into a gem, you can do. I've also included some notes at the bottom below. You wouldn't copy these in, but they're considerations for you to add for knowledge sources in there. Or if you want, I will also include the links for the gems themselves, so you can just make a copy of those and tweak them right inside of Gemini. So that's it for this video. Thanks for joining me this week, and we'll see you in the next one.